The ideal city has been a topic of discussion in city planning and urban design for a long time. Likely being discussed shortly after cities first came about, cities like Babylon, Rome, Constantinople, and others were the anchor point of great civilizations that are now long gone. Each had its own vision for its ideal, and now in the modern era, many of our own cities are the product of an urban designer's vision for their own ideal city. But we know many of these recent visions were less than ideal. This begs the question, was it a failure to achieve the vision, or a failure of the visionary to see true characteristics of the ideal city? To answer that, we need to know what characterizes the ideal city today. Many of the recent notable urban designers, such as Jane Jacobs, Kevin A. Lynch, Gordon Cullen, or many others, have pursued a variety of measurable statistics in designing good communities to create the larger city. To narrow it down, 6 of the common topics discussed in urban design are sustainable design, walkability, mixed-use development, accessibility, cultural heritage, and safety. All of these are certainly important to the ideal city, but I think it would be possible to be successful in all these metrics and still fail to be the ideal city. So what is missing? I think the ideal city characterizes its own unique community through the built environment. The architecture reveals the soul of the community. It defines the city as a unique and shared experience. It gives it a sense of identity. That sense of identity has also been a topic of discussion in recent history in urban design, as well as tourism and market analysis in business. So what is that sense of identity? How is it defined? How is it applicable? And finally, how do architects and city planners design to it? Firstly, every city intrinsically has an identity. It contains a community with shared experiences, and in that a shared identity, albeit with a varied perspective on what that identity actually is. Now, that identity is not always expressed through the built environment. In fact, many cities remain very ignorant of the very things that make them unique and desirable as a city. This may be because there's a weak cultural expression in the area, but even then, there's still an identifiable community to design for. As a designer, this is the opportunity to attempt to enhance the social fabric of the community you are designing for. You may be able to reveal the elements that define the city and possibly create new connections for the people living there. To design to this, a good place to start might be the reasons cities start. 2 primary reasons cities are where they are is geography and economics. Most cities in America are where they are because of access to water and the railroad. Enhancing connections to the city's roots not only enhance its historical connection, it also will more greatly represent the people that have chosen to live in this city. A more practical application point would be to design spaces that point people to local geographic features and highlight or enhance these spaces to create better communal environments for people to have shared experiences in. This might look like a boardwalk next to a river or a street aligned to the best views of the skyline. It could also be designing places for events that are regionally associated to take place. This could be a large farmer's market or museum showing local history. In all these designs, there should be a special consideration to the local architectural style. The ideal city understands what it is and what it means to live in it. It understands its identity and how to express that through the built environment. This should look different in every city. There's no one-size-fits-all for city design. Designers should not expect the same city plan or even the same planning strategy to work everywhere. Context is already an important consideration in architecture, and cultural context should be no different. The ideal city is certainly accessible, walkable, safe, and very sustainable, but without a strong sense of identity, the city is just a bunch of buildings.